The crew worldwide, from Cali to Twitter, real hardcore fans, boxing ass niggas, consistency cops, police the views, we'll pull up receipts for any debate you choose. Shout outs to Clan Archie for the dope production. Ring Gang stay with the best discussions. Ring Gang Radio.
Yeah, what's good, Joe? Welcome to another episode of Real Talk, where as always, if shit's real, we talk about it. I'm your host for tonight, Patscorpio, the New England representative, and as always, I got my man with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Yo, what it do? LB, Lauderdale boss, Shutterworth da Gawd artist, Soul Wars creator, ringgangradio.com in the building.
Yes, sir. Forever and always. And as always, I also got my other man with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
What up, y'all? It's your boy King P, Bodega Boys in the building. Bodega boxing all day, every day. Get it?
Bodega P in the motherfucking house. Word up. So yeah, boxing, little light on the news this week, this past weekend. But obviously, there's always still things to talk about. I think the big thing from this past weekend was the debut of one Robeisy Ramirez. Now, Robeisy Ramirez obviously is, he was a big amateur star. I mean, he's a two-time gold medalist for Cuba. Has a list of victories. I mean, he's known for giving Shakur Stevenson his last loss to date in the amateurs, on his way to getting the gold medal. He has a lot of hype, and he's beaten a lot of different, from Tug to Ivan Baranchik to Selby to Andrew Selby. He's beaten a lot of cats in the amateurs that are now notable pros. So he has a lot of hype. But with Cuban fighters, they come in here and obviously they're not like, yes, I am to come to America, and settle in and and turn pro and do what I need to do. No, Cuba's still a communist country, so they still gotta defect. They still gotta go, do some wild shit in order to get in, to defect. And this time they can't be caught and dragged back to Cuba. So I know Top Rank, obviously, they signed him and they put the whole hype machine behind him, his backstory, how the Cuban government or officials, they made him partially remove his tattoo. He had an Olympic rings tattoo on his bicep and they made him remove that shit. So it's just a big ass scar. I'm like, damn. Them motherfuckers are not playing around over there.
You got some Spartacus shit. They was branding that nigga and took it off.
Yeah. And they was just fuck you. You're gonna remove this shit. And it's just and that shit was what?
Gold medals. Cuba did.
Yes. Fidel did.
we was in the gym with you. We was in the gym hitting that speed bag and the double leg bag.
Right. Practicing my 2-punch combos over and over again. You know what I mean? But yeah, and he was in Mexico, and it took him a whole journey to get him to Florida, where he was able to settle in, and focus on turning pro. So, like I said, Top Rank signed him, and he has all these hype videos and whatever. So, they mentioned his victories that and obviously, Top Rank probably signed him because they signed Shakur Stevenson. So, Top Rank is thinking they're looking at money right there. We can have these two fight, meet up down the line, 2 or 3 years down the line, depending how fast Ramirez would develop as a pro. And it was it was definitely notable when Ramirez debuted as a featherweight, same division as Shakur Stevenson, who was on the verge of going for his first title shot. So the fight happens, and within 30 seconds, Ramirez is dropped by a perfect left hook as he was leaning back. And he didn't go down all the way, but he did. But obviously, it hit him cleanly, and he put both hands down on the canvas, which probably stopped him from actually tumbling down. And
it looked bad. It looked bad.
Yeah, it looked really bad.
The type of knockdown reminded me of the late round knockdown that Chad Dawson had on Tarver in the first fight. The one where Tarver goes like he about to do a cartwheel to catch himself from falling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not because he's never been. I don't think he's ever touched the ground. Like he always catches himself. So it takes some skill to do that shit.
It does. I mean, it takes like you gotta have like a tumbling background in order to successfully pull that off.
Nigga Dominique Dawes and shit.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, after that, one would think that you would get some urgency because in a 4-round fight, a knockdown automatically means you're down a good amount. That means you got to pretty much win the rest of the rounds or try to score a knockdown in order to even have a chance at the cards. You know what I'm saying? But the wild thing is,
no. Let's wait. Not the apology cutting you off, but
no, go ahead. No,
that's if you're not the hype machine, the A side, and all that. Yeah, the rules don't apply to you all to that. Sometimes the rules don't apply to you to that extent if you really got the machine behind you and all that. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, this cat had Rigo Lomachenko hype, because you know how these people are. If you're a gold medalist, if you're especially with accomplished like he is, you have all the hype in the world, bruh.
I mean, I feel you, but honestly, I ain't even hear this nigga name until you told me to. Did you see his fight?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like I said, I mean, he was a big story. I mean, he's been a big story. I mean, of all the amateur cats that are out there, he's like the biggest. He's one of the biggest stories in boxing.
Damn, I must have missed it. I don't know, but he ain't impressed me. I see why I missed it.
I mean, you didn't notice when he beat Shakur in the. I saw that fight.
I don't fucking keep up with no damn amateur. Not this damn generation of fighters. Shit. Amateur, really, nigga? Nigga, it's harder to keep up with these damn.
No, I do because I was heavily and still am heavily invested in Shakur. So I was watching when Shakur was fighting. That's when Robeisy caught my attention.
Yeah, I mean, Robeisy came to my attention during the Olympics too, and obviously because Shakur was like, so close to getting that gold medal, but he fell short. I mean, that's the reason why that cat's name. And like I said, he had a lot of hype behind him. I mean, because this, of course, he was still in Cuba. He didn't defect yet. So.
Did he look great? Like, I mean,
he looked pretty good.
Yeah, Ramirez in the Olympics. I mean, he wasn't. Let's just say that the condition they entered the ring in, like you could tell he'd been eating good in the, in America. You know what I'm saying? Because he was fighting as like a flyweight or something like that in the Olympics. Something like that. So I mean, he looked. So I mean, let's just say I don't think Top Rank should actually keep him as a pro featherweight yet. Damn. No, I'm dead serious. Like, I mean, there was a lot of things that he did as a pro, in this pro debut that was just like no. Like first of all, go ahead, Pete.
No, I was gonna say like the knockout, the knockdown that he suffered in the first 10 seconds of the fight was like, you would think a guy with like 400 amateur fights and 2 gold medals would know better than to just like walk straight back after punching. Like that wasn't a move that I would expect from somebody that's supposed to be of his caliber. He walked right back into the line of fire. Like
Right. And what was even worse is even after that knockdown, he didn't show any urgency, like none. Like
I blame the corner for that.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Fuck that. No. Nigga, if you a 2-time gold Olympic medalist, I don't care if damn Eddie Futz, Manuel Stewart is in your damn corner, man. It ain't gonna make no difference. you out there fighting, bro. Like, I ain't making
He was-
excuses for this nigga, man.
No, it's not an excuse. I'm just saying that I legitimately believe that he legitimately thought that he was winning the fight after, even with the knockdown, and they told him that too. He thought that his whole team thought that. His team should have told him, like, no, you need to fight with more urgency instead of basically placating him. Oh, you're winning the fight. Like, no sense of urgency. And honestly, like, you could tell this is like, all those pity pat punches that he was throwing, it's like he's still stuck in that amateur style.
Exactly. I mean, that's one of the things about amateurs. Like, if you spend too much time in the amateur ranks, you know, sometimes you have habits. I mean, even fighters like Rigo and Lomachenko, they had their flaws too. I mean, with the case with Rigo, I mean, he actually managed to evolve into a pro style before he actually suffered his first loss. Lomachenko wasn't so lucky. You know. I mean,
but way different type of caliber loss and way different effort in losing.
Exactly. You know,
If
I mean,
this guy would have fought like Lomachenko did in the losing effort, he would have definitely won.
yeah, of course. But no, that's the thing, bro. Basically, like, one thing that Gonzales did and was trainer, I think, actually, probably did a good job in spotting was he just kept him on defense with volume punching. Like, Ramirez had problems with Gonzales's punching, like, because he kept his activity was so high that Ramirez.
But why is that?
Who knows? Like,
No. Let's really analyze the fight. Why would you have a lot of problem with volume?
why would you
You gotta not be doing something, right?
Exactly.
And one thing that I didn't see him doing was a jab.
Yeah. No.
And he's supposed to be 2-time gold Olympic. Like,
It's that what he was doing was he was waiting for Gonzales to stop and then he would throw. Like, it was like a back and forth type of thing. Like, he wasn't like trying to take control of the fight. It was just more likely like Ramirez was punching, and then when he thought Ramirez would stop punching, then he would throw. And that's how Ramirez. I mean, and that's as simple as you can put, because that's literally how it went in the fight. Ramirez, that's how he got outworked in the second and the third rounds. It was the same thing. Like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. You know, like it was just like, I was like, come on, bruh. Like, you're supposed to be you're a 2-time gold medalist, bruh. You have all these amateur victories. Like, people with this type of hype, you know, there's supposed to be a level, at least a level that shows that you can be an actual pro. You know,
bruh, this guy, he didn't look special at all. I don't see the hype. I'm now I know why I didn't know about this guy. Like, I know why. Like, if people in their feelings and man, nah, man, you cannot with that level of hype. It's not the losing, it's how you lose, man. Just like how it is how you win sometimes. Mm-hmm. And the way he lost, it just showed like a kid who just happy to be there.
Well, I mean, either he kept his. I mean, obviously he has an amateur style, and he picked up a lot of bad habits. That's another.
Yeah. Hold on, bring my nigga P back in, man. I gotta make sure he hear this part.
Oh, let me see that. Oh, let me go get him back in. All right.
I'm here.
All right, P. Yeah. Okay. Here you go, P. So
we was talking about the lack of jabbing and just basic fundamentals for somebody at that stature in the sport, you know, on that type of stage.
I agree. I don't think he didn't set up anything. He didn't really set up anything with the jab. He kind of just doubled up with the left and it was kind of wide. And I'm like this isn't how I would expect somebody like of his pedigree to be fighting. And I don't know. I was disappointed as well. So
trash.
Yeah, it's not good.
And you see how they still and the point I was trying to allude to earlier in the opening, basically, you know, they still try to give his ass the fight.
They did.
Yep.
They still, and he was outthrown 84 punches in 4 rounds.
Yeah, it was.
Get the fuck out of here.
Like, I mean, because it makes you wonder, like, and here's why I always allude to with Cubans specifically. This is a Cuban thing. Like I've mentioned before, you know, Cubans, like, you know, when they do defect and they do come to, either they go to Mexico, they go to Europe, or whatever, you know, it's like a small percentage of them actually fight to their actual potential. You know what I'm saying? Like going on the days of, let's just say, let's put, you know, Joel Casamayor, someone like him. Like,
Thank you.
I mean, Casamayor. Obviously, at near end of career, obviously, you know, after he was worn down by all types of wars, and you know, he got introduced to that marijuana life, and you know, again knocked down by Featherfist Tim Bradley. You know, but before all that,
he was already a Hall of Famer by that time.
Yeah, he was an accomplished fighter. He fought to his potential, and as such, a lot of these Cuban fighters, man, they come here. And I'm not saying some, but a lot of the younger ones, and even like you go on Twitter, you have people saying it too. Like they come here and it's just like, you know, what the fuck are you doing? Like the Bartholomew brothers. They're probably the prime example of Cuban fighters who come here and they just lose their discipline.
Man, Gamboa should have been the one. Fuck all that.
Yeah, Gamboa should have been the one. I mean, obviously we have, you know, Laura.
It wasn't meant to be with Gamboa. Like I felt like he was the one in a way, but I don't think he had the right promotion. You know, I think he's one of the people Top Rank kind of failed with. Like, and I'm not getting that
100%.
You know, specifically, you know, but they promoted him. But like you could tell, there's some fighters that some promoters are real good for. And then there's some fighters that they just not a good fit. And unfortunately, Gamboa stayed too long with Arum and company. And it kind of hurt his career.
And fucked up his actual fight too, because you know.
And then his momentum and everything. And my whole thing is, and I know me and Pat talked about this before, and I've said it before. Niggas gotta stop this fucking overrating and hyping up of this imaginary school of Cuban boxing. Like, I do not know why motherfuckers hype them up so much when they do not at any rate live up to it, like as much as cats claim, you know, to even put it out there like that. Like, you had to go back to Joel Casamayor, who is one of my favorite boxers, actually. Love his style, watched all his fights. Like, you had to go way back to him just to make a point about the last great Cuban, like, pro boxers, bro. Like, like enough is enough. Like, how much hype we gonna get these niggas?
A guy that I felt was underrated. Now he's underrated and overlooked, you know, as a talent. But back then, Hurtado was that dude. Like, as far as talent wise, I fucked with Hurtado.
Yeah. I mean, Hurtado. I mean, obviously it was later in his career that he actually managed to win a belt. I mean, obviously he's known for giving Zoo and the late great Sweet Pea a whole bunch of trouble before succumbing, you know, to stoppages. But yeah, let's say, I mean, Cuban fight. I mean, for every, you know, successful Cuban fighter, I mean, you have your Jorge Luis Gonzaleses, and you know, and that.
I mean, it just don't. It's just for the hype they get. Like, I'll take it like this. Fuck it. Like, look, when I look at Florida, my state, when I see all the champions we produce, we don't get no fucking Cuban, you know, school of boxing hype. We don't shit. But most times when people talk about boxers and boxing areas, the places niggas name is like, okay, Cali, Philly, New York.
Michigan.
But I'm saying, we done had them Roy Jones Jr., Jeff Lacey, Keith Thurman, Antonio Tarver, Derek Gaynor. Come on, like, we don't. I mean, and I could do it better. I don't even have to go to Florida. I'd take Florida out of this. You could go to Michigan. Michigan got some of the top defensive fighters of all time. You got Floyd Mayweather. You got James Toney. You got Chris Bird. How come How come? And most of the fighters out of Michigan are, defensively sound. How come they don't get this, imaginary school of, Detroit boxing or Michigan boxing? Only Cuba gets that, and the results just don't turn out like that, right, as opposed to other places.
It's based on the work that they put in the amateurs. That's really what it's
That's
based
what I was about to say. Yeah,
and that's amateurs, and we talking about the pros, and niggas give them pro hype. Like niggas, it's like their career mode comes out with a 10% bonus.
Well, it's like because it's almost like because of their situation, a lot of them are looked at like that because of the talent that they put in. It's like almost like how in America in other sports you go to college for 4 years and then turn pro. Some of these motherfuckers. It would be like these Cuban guys are in college for 10 years, 12 years. So they come out they should come out ahead of the curve, and that's what it's based on.
Right.
And it doesn't happen most of the time.
It really doesn't. Like I said, honestly, when's the last time
how much hype niggas give Laura?
I mean, let's put it this way.
Laura's dope. Laura's a good boxer. So, I don't think...
But he's not worth the fucking hype we've been hearing about for years.
I mean,
all the fucking hype he had coming into the pros. Next thing I know, fucking Carlos Molina beating his ass.
Yeah.
and they almost get, and they what the draw, the new robbery.
Yeah, the draw. Yeah,
come on.
They had to give him. They gave him the draw. I mean, that was
Laura always be getting some fucking love with them scorecards, cause it's that hype, man. I'm telling you, how many times we gotta see Laura get hands put on or chased around forever before niggas be like, yo, this dude ain't as good as we, out of 1 through 10, if we're talking about number 10 is top 3 pound for pound, or really a great fighter, A level, man, Laura's like a 7, maybe 6.5.
I give him
no, honestly, look, compare him at the top level and compare him to Joel Casamayor's performances. It's like night and day.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, really, the last Cuban fighter to really dominate pro boxing, at least in their division, is Rigo. And Rigo, Rigo actually earned his hype. I mean, granted, he had flaws in his own style, but he actually earned his hype.
He held it down. I can't front on Rigondeaux, but when you just look at Casamayor and Rigondeaux,
yeah,
that's two people who delivered. Out of there, how many names that's always been hyped? Mike Perez.
Mike Perez though. Still, I think that that fight with Abdul Salam probably ruined him a little.
That's. But I'm just saying, I'm just naming dudes who got some of the benefit of the hype.
I would say hype, but Juan Carlos Gomez, he was a beast.
him. Oh my!
He was a beast at cruiserweight, but when he went to heavyweight, he got knocked out by a journeyman. That's how he got his first loss. He got knocked out by a Cuban journeyman at that. And then
they losing in their own career mode, bruh. Like, nah.
And then there's Solis too, like the one who basically he broke his leg walking in versus Fatality in the title shot. That's one. That's another.
Yeah, another one.
Because he couldn't keep himself in shape.
And guys like Gamboa and Lara, they're like mid-level to me. Like if you put Casamayor and Rigondeaux at the top, like somehow Lara and Gamboa is like several notches below those two to me, in my personal opinion.
Right.
And then after them, you have the guys like Luis Ortiz and the Bartholomews and all of them dudes. And
the Bartholomews. Ortiz is still. I honestly, his window is closing. In terms of him actually becoming something in the pros. And the Bartholomew brother. Bartholomew brother.
You'll just have a fucking rubber match with Wilder. What you talking about? They gonna be the new Bronco McGuard and Winky Wright series.
Yeah, but the Bartholomews though, they're the ones I think the poster childs for Cubans coming here and losing their goddamn minds. The older one, I remember Jan was, he got KO'd in I think his 7th fight and never regained his momentum. And then you have Rancis, who actually did pick up a title, but has not looked great in his last couple of fights. And then you have his younger brother
with Mickey Bay.
Yeah, that's true. And then you have his younger brother who probably should have taken an L to a journeyman. Yeah, on a Friday at a FS1 card. You know, so I mean, and then you see them, they come in the ring with their purple hair, and you know, they clearly have been out on the town and stuff like that, you know, just disgracing themselves with their hairstyles and whatnot, not fighting look like they're focused or anything like that. Again, you know,
it's like it's a game, and that's how Ramirez was looking. Like he just looked like on some playful, like I mean, you know, I'm gonna get the decision. I mean, come on. How you heard of career mode? You getting robbed this early? Like, nah.
Right.
Nigga,
I mean, dude. I mean,
we talking to the developer after this. Nah.
I mean, Adan Gonzales is 4-2-2 with 2 knockouts. I mean, so part of me is thinking to myself, is that too experienced for a guy like this? I mean, because you know,
got 2 gold medals. You from the Cuban school of boxing.
I mean,
you can't have your cake and eat it too.
I think Ugas is pretty underrated when speaking about Cuban fighters.
Fuck out of here. No, do not bring him up. No. His bad fight having ass. No, stop it. I think you one of the people that be always overrating these motherfuckers. Nah.
No.
Shit, no.
I didn't think he was great. I think I didn't think he was great. I think he's underrated. He has the stinkers, but he can have good fights as well.
Okay, so you say he's underrated. So what is his ceiling? Dealing, you know, seeing what we know with the whole Cuban boxing brand. What is his ceiling if he's underrated? Does he make it to the Luis Ortiz level? Or is he above that? Does he get the Barthélemy level? What, Gamboa?
I would definitely put him over a guy like Barthélemy. Definitely. I don't think he's going to be like, he'll never be a top tier elite A1 fighter, but I think he's a guy that can win the title and can challenge, can give the top guys a good fight. Not saying he'll beat them, but I think he'll give them.
So he's the Obakar of this generation. But less skilled and less, you know, exciting to watch.
Oh no, I mean, Oba, when he was taking them beatings, he was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, Obakar was the dude. Like, I'm just saying, man, like,
yeah,
I don't want no one to be like, man, fuck these ring gang niggas. Nah, they cool, man. It's that Shutterworth cat, man, that LB nigga. He the one he's saying all that bullshit, man. Fuck that nigga. He better not be at them fights. Better say the Thanos motherfucker shit. Nah, I'm just keeping it real, bruh. Like, I'm just keeping it real.
That's that real talk. I mean, like I said, Cuban. Like I said, Cuban boxing. I mean, it's not. Like I said, what happened with Ramirez right now? He's not gonna be the first Cuban fighter to falter. He's not gonna be the first. He's not gonna be the last. The point is, like, I mean, he lost a split decision. I mean, pretty much 2 judges. One judge pretty much had him losing every round.
Which was the right fucking.
Right.
That was the one when I was like, yo, like, somebody saw the fucking fight.
You know, and the fun thing too, people were actually mad about the 40-35. I'm like, what was wrong about it? You know what I'm saying?
Cause you got this generation of people who like seeing motherfuckers back up and trying to look cool instead of win a fucking fight.
Right.
That's why niggas is so in love with this. Let me throw 30 punches around with maybe 9 jabs. And think you could win a fight, cause you got motherfuckers like, oh my god, he's backing up and he slipped the punch. Oh wow, damn, so much boxing skills. Oh yes, like nah, nigga, ain't no fucking fights. And if the judges would stop fucking damn jizzing in their pants, scoring that shit, then maybe we'd get some fucking upsets and better fucking fights.
Yeah, I mean,
they definitely tried to give him that shit, and that's why he's smiling and sucking and jiving. Nah, nigga, we reject your deposits, nigga.
And the funny thing too is, like, when I heard 40 to 35, I mean 40 to 35, like, there's no feasible way that Ramirez could ever win a fight on a 40 to 35. You can't.
I would have lost my mind, bro.
Like a 40. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, his corner is like, I mean, I'm pretty sure people can understand numbers in English, because when I heard 40 35, I was like, oh yeah, this motherfucker lost. Like, they're over there, like, I was like there's no way, because there was no points deduction and there was no knockouts on Gonzales. So when I heard that, the corner should have been like, oh fuck, we lost this shit, and they was not. They was acting like they was about to win. I was like, that's the thing that was like, wow, to me.
The entitlement of it, and that's what's killing boxing. When you could put on performances like that and smile and think you fucking won.
Yeah, it was incredible. And then the funny thing is too, when they announced that he lost, I mean, he jetted from the ring. Like, he didn't even stay in the ring and be like, nah, bro, let me go talk to this and say that I won. Like, he basically had to go with his translator in the back to say that he thought he won, blah this and blah that.
And that's what we needed, the cameraman from Maury to go run and find his ass. Just like they be doing the damn chicks who damn find out, you know, nigga ain't the father and shit. Nah, like, you gonna do that performance and you can't stand behind it? Nah, man, I don't respect that. Like, if it comes to damn, like, y'all niggas here to disgust in my voice with that shit. Like,
yeah,
this nigga got a lot to prove.
Yeah, and like saying, yeah, basically next step for him is like, I mean, for Top Rank, I mean, this is a disaster because they just signed a highly touted amateur prospect who faltered big time in this first fight. So they have to probably, I mean, they're gonna have to give him like the bums of bums. Like, they're gonna have to go, they're gonna have to go super jobber. Like, I mean, they gotta find someone.
Does that exist? Like, where's this factory of jobbers? Like, they already tried to do that. Cause look, what dude is from Colorado? Like, you know how back in the day, Pat, like, I know, I'm sure Peter has seen some of it too. How niggas that come on HBO and they getting their first fight or whatnot, and you know they got a little, you know, prospect hype behind them, and they grab some random kid from the middle of America who, you know, probably look like he boxed for like maybe a year or so, and they got him on the big stage to, you know, be the jobber, you know, to be that guy.
Right.
They always do that shit, and I feel like they may have tried it this time, and you know you know, Gonzales wasn't with it. Like, you seen the way he walked to the ring, he was cocky as shit.
Yeah, and then and just to point out, his backstory was like, dude's been working 12 hours as a landscaper and sleeping in his gym, so you know he was hungry. He was hungrier than the Cuban who defected, and you know, had all these issues. I mean, how is that even possible? Like,
dude, you hear a comment where I think the commenter, he was on some I wish he said, the way Ramirez fought so hard to get out of his country, I wish he would fight hard like that to get out of this fight. Like, he said something like that. And I was just like, oh shit. I was like, bars, nigga. Like, honestly, like, I don't know if I could live with myself if I see if I fight like that, and especially if nothing's wrong with me, and to hear somebody say that shit, like, wow, like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, like Top Rank has to match them really carefully. Like, what I mean, my thing is that would a rematch be feasible? Like, they probably should give him. Like, I mean, he'd have to. Ramirez should have to show a level to actually beat someone like Adan Gonzales, a 4-2-2 fighter. You know what I mean? Like I said, they have to lower his competition. Like, they gotta find someone who will probably crumple on the first body punch or crumple with the first jab to the nose. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like, something like that.
Yeah, 2-time gold from Cuba. Nah, man. Like,
well, I mean, it was like, I mean, because he wasn't like he lost a close fight. Like, he pretty much got outworked, and he didn't show no urgency. His trainer, his whole team, that camp or whatever, needs to be sacked. Like, I'm
gonna put it low. Don't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if something come up that he was not feeling well, sick, or maybe even he failed a test or some shit. Like, his whole energy, his vibe was just off that fight for me. Like,
and
practice mode.
And then also too, like Top Rank. I mean, I know they probably want a fight with Shakur Stevenson, but they need Ramirez is probably not meant for 126. Like, I mean, he didn't win. I mean, he won his gold medals in as a flyweight and as a banner. Like, he needs to probably drop down to one of those two divisions or a super flyweight, something like that, you know, and just look, because I mean, like the dude wasn't really in shape. I mean, he didn't really show a lot of power either, you know what I'm saying, or even any type of activity.
I don't know, he was throwing hard punches. Like when they were exchanging, they were throwing hard punches. It just, I felt like, you know, since he wasn't boxing good, he couldn't control a lot of shit. Like,
right, yeah, he had no ring generalship, and that's you would think that someone who has amateur victories over the people he has, like, I mean, he would be able to control a ring, control the opponent in the ring. But what do I know?
Probably got a ring around his eye now. Shit, all them damn overhands he was getting hit with. Like, yeah, I'm done with this topic, man. It's just I'm just
yeah. I mean, shout out to Gonzales. I mean, he came to fight, and hopefully that he actually gets another opportunity on the Top Rank card or whatever, to, you know, because like I said, I like to hear good feel good stories, like someone who's clearly hungry, you know. And
thank you.
Upset. My only thing is, I wish I wonder what those odds were for him actually, you know, winning that fight.
Should have been unanimous, though. You know, always got that one blind ass fucking judge.
Right.
And that never fails. But yeah, like, shout out to Gonzales. You know,
so, I mean,
we love a good upset.
We do, and now Ramirez is now under the microscope too, because now, you know, obviously, I mean, we could have a Joe Shiming situation going where they fizzle out early, you know, and stuff like that. So yeah, Ramirez, you know, if you want to make it in this pro game, you know, you better get your ass off your shoulders, and you better be training now. I mean, you better be outside instead of in the clubs, whatever, salsa on, doing whatever y'all be doing, and you need to be running. You know what I'm saying?
Out in the Mojo Port, nigga.
Yeah, and take that stupid blonde dye out of your head, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself a proper hairstyle. You know what I'm saying? You try to you find, you know, to be somebody. You know.
Take this shit serious, man. Like, his whole vibe just felt like on some prima donna, I'm the king of the gym shit. Like, you can tell these niggas probably like trip over themselves running to give him water. Like, like, man, nah, man. You gotta cut that shit out, man. You in America now, you in the pros, level up.
Exactly.
Chin up, chest out. Real shit.
Real shit, real talk.